Electricity. It looks cool, but it can be a danger to you and others around you.
Friends, you're probably thinking, well, what if I want to be like my favorite superhero, Thor? You don't want that, because guess what? Let's say you're at the gas pump getting your gas, you reach for the pump, and all of a sudden your car just goes up in flames. What are you going to do then? You're going to be blown into a million different pieces. You're probably wondering, well, how did that happen? It is simply the discharge of electricity that you've conjured up using static. We're going to get more into that later. My name is Buddy Thundersticks, and we're going to be going through the top 5 ways you can reduce the risk of having a gas fire while filling up your car at the gas station. Let's get straight into point number 1. Alright guys, point number 1. Do not get back in your car while you are pumping gas into your car. Kind of a bozo move. Only losers do that. You don't want to do that. Anyway, basically the reason why we conducted some experiments with our team, and we found out that when you rub wool over a balloon, we'll use this example, when you rub the wool over a balloon, it creates a charge. One item takes a lot of negative charges, one item takes a lot of positive. Therefore, you have 2 separate charges. They're either going to attract, repel, or do nothing at all. But when you sit back down in your car, fabric is rubbing against the type of seats you have, and that is creating a charge. Now, you're probably thinking, well, if our clothes are taking the charge, why is it that we touch the pump, there's discharge? That is because our bodies are conductors, meaning the charge stays in us until we touch something else that will take the charge from us, creating a discharge. Second thing you want to do at the gas pump is, if you do have to get back into your car because it's too cold, it's too hot, or there's some dangerous monster outside that you don't want to encounter, maybe a bobcat or something like that here down in Arizona. If you do have to get back into your car, please, once you get out of your car, go touch something else, metal, or if you have something rubber, touch that. Rubber will take the charge and basically nullify it, and metal will create the discharge, but as long as the metal is away from the gas, then there is a less risk of there being a fire caused. This is because as our bodies are conductors, they must wait for something else that is a conductor to touch, and when they are touched, they quickly switch their surface electrons, creating the little spark that you see. And our experiment showed that our bodies will store the charge. Anything that is a conductor will store a charge, and so this charge will be in you until you transfer it to another conductor. So please, if you do have to get into your car when you get out, please touch something else, rubber or metal. Alright guys, step number 3, or tip number 3 you could say, wear the same material or a material close to the material your car seats are made out of. Let's say your car seats are leather. You're going to want to wear more leather if there's a higher chance of you creating a charge. Basically, there is this thing called the triboelectric scale, guys. Basically, if you take one item on this side of the scale, one item on this side of the scale, rub them together, it's going to be a very big charge because they are farther away on the scale from each other. Basically, the scale, 1 takes neutrons more, 1 gives them away more. So if you take something that are closer together, like if you take 2 in the middle and rub them together, there's going to be a very small charge because they are a lot closer and the charge will not be as big. So if you have something that's made out of like more feltish material, maybe wear more felt. I'm not saying you have to. I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. But for the safety of you and others around you, it is a good idea. Now, our next point is that, number 4, in fact, is that if you're going to handle the gas pump, please, if you can, if you don't want to, once again, you don't have to, please use gloves. Basically, in our experiments that we did, we decided that, or we found that when you rub the surface area of something, it will only be charged on that surface. Let's take a cube, for instance, a cube, 6-sided cube. Rub it on one of the faces, the charge will not spread to the whole surface area, only the spot that it's rubbed. Our bodies are a little different as they are conductors, meaning our charge will go throughout our whole body, meaning anywhere we touch a conductor, it could be with your elbow, wrist, forehead, foot, I don't care, it will create a static discharge. Now, what you can do to nullify this or get rid of it completely almost is, 1, if you haven't already touched metal or something else that you don't want to do that, put on a glove, as the glove will stop you from making direct contact with the metal and therefore nullify the discharge, making it so it never happened. Then take the glove off, go touch something else if you want, and the discharge, I think, will happen, and you'll be good. You won't have created a gas fire. Now, hopefully you guys are still with me at this point. We are now on point number 5. If you get back into your car, you've done all the steps I've already said, this one is important because it does link back to actually our very first point. When you get into the car, or even if you're still outside, so maybe you never got back even in your car, do not rub your hands on your clothing. Due to the triboelectric scale and our experiments, when rubbing 2 things together, like I said, that will create a charge, and hands are, I believe, higher on the triboelectric scale than cotton, meaning they still will create a significant enough charge to create a discharge. So don't like, yeah, here. You don't want to do that. That's a bozo move. We don't do that here. So one way to get rid of this is once again going to touch something else, or putting on gloves. Like I said, do not rub your hands on your clothes as they will create a charge, and since they are so far apart from each other on the triboelectric scale, that will indeed create a discharge powerful enough to create a gas fire. My name was Buddy Thundersticks, and this was a PSA on how to not create gas fires while pumping gas into your car.